Change management is at the core of Windchill. It's part of all of our customer systems. It's an essential part to product development and orchestrating a systemic approach to product development. And there's a lot of different documentation, different sources of information that go into planning, executing, and implementing a change. PLM typically sits at the heart of it, as it's the source of truth for all technical data within an organization. Now, we do find that sources from other systems are required and other disciplines are required to be incorporated into those processes, such as input from the service department or input from the quality teams to understand that, hey, this is what we're observing when we're doing our job on this product. It's important for engineering to understand our side of things and to understand that this is how this change is either affecting us or this is how this change is going to positively impact our jobs and the product and how we experience the product in our roles. Once we start looking outside of engineering, when talking about change management, we're now starting to talk about enterprise change management. And PLM is essentially the backbone of a lot of elements of not only just the digital thread, but all of these different disciplines in the organization. Enterprise change management is an important and vital step as all of these different disciplines get impacted one way or another when an engineering change goes into place. So we're evolving the traditional engineering change management concept to more of an enterprise change management concept as we become more reliant on all of these other disciplines and stakeholders to be part of that change. These changes that happen earlier on in the engineering side can really impact how these other disciplines do their job. Everything from manufacturing, if you make a change to the product, but their tools within the shop floor aren't configured and are set to manufacture this new change that you've incorporated, it could severely cause delays and cause disruptions in the manufacturing line process as this change came and they didn't expect it. Similarly, it can happen in the service department. If something is changed on the engineering side of things and the service technicians have documentation on how you service a particular product, if the parts have changed or things have changed on the engineering side and those changes haven't been propagated down through the supply chain and into service, suddenly these technicians are out there with a new product in front of them and old documentation, and that can lead to a lot of rework, a lot of mistakes. Changes can be quite long and quite complex. Without a tool to help you facilitate these changes, as somebody in an engineering discipline, you're having to do all this manually. If you can think about the challenges that are associated with having to do this manually, the workflow itself can be anywhere from a few steps to potentially hundreds of steps. And without a tool to help you orchestrate and pull in those different disciplines to have input on the change, it can be quite a demanding and daunting task. By not having a system like Windchill, you're essentially having to go in and communicate individually to all of these different disciplines without a tool to help orchestrate and communicate what's happening and what all of these different disciplines are contributing can be almost impossible. Change by itself is extremely large. When you're now distributing it more broadly to the enterprise, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of resources, it's a lot of moving parts that need to be considered, that need to be handled. And without a tool to essentially programmatically do that for you through the different workflows, through the different tasks, through the different configurations, you're looking at an extremely difficult challenge to solve. And Windchill does a really good job of incorporating all of these different things and all of these different disciplines as part of that process. Some tips to have an efficient enterprise change process is getting buy-in from all of these different stakeholders. As we're broadening this process to the enterprise, it's really imperative that we get their input as well. And not just their input on the actual change, but on the administration, the setup of these different processes and workflows. We need to understand what business impacts they're going to be having. We need to understand what kind of reviews or what kind of inputs they need to be adding into the change process. So it's really important to have clear lines of communication, to have frequent reviews of the change processes to understand that one, they're working effectively and efficiently, and two, that they're meeting all of these different needs so that Windchill can be configured to meet the needs of not just one business, but all of the businesses combined.